Hey, I'm Q Paul, and today we're going to be working more with the verb ir, which means to go in Spanish. I'm going to be showing you how to conjugate this verb in the present tense and the preterite tense, which is also known as the simple past. When you compare English and Spanish, Spanish verb conjugation is much more complex. For example, in English, in the present tense, for the verb to go, I would say, I go, you go, he goes, I don't know why that one's different, we go, they go. See, there's only one change in there. But in contrast, if I do the same thing in Spanish, I'm going to get 5 different results. Voy, vas, va, vamos, van. That requires a lot more memorization on your part. And, unfortunately, the same thing happens in the past tense, the preterite. That's 5 more conjugations to memorize just for this single verb. When I talk to people who stopped learning Spanish, they quit, and I ask them why. Most of them say it was all the conjugations, all the long lists of things to memorize. That's why I choose a very different approach with beginning Spanish students, especially if the goal is to make them conversational, and that's your goal. So I'll focus only on the first and second person, because let's face it, I am involved in every conversation. I'm generally talking to someone or something, even if it's just a cat. Since we're not spending all our time trying to memorize a long list of conjugations, we can spend more time on actually making sentences, which is going to make you conversational a lot faster. Once you get in the habit of utilizing these constructions, and you want to start to talk about third parties, like what your neighbor's doing or friend, it's going to be much easier. Alright, this is the part where you should start taking notes. We're going to start with the present tense. I go, yo voy, you go, tú vas. Remember, you can leave off the yo and to in your sentences. Now, in our sentences, we're going to be saying we're going to somewhere. So we're going to need that little word to, which is a. So it's helpful to learn these as voy a, I'm going to, and vas a, you're going to. To make a complete sentence with these, just plug in a location. So here's an example. Voy a la playa. That can mean 2 different things. You can translate it as I go to the beach or I'm going to the beach. Now, if you're going to ask somebody where they're going, you can't just use the word donde, where. They actually say a donde, to where. So anytime you have a verb of motion like this, always think a donde. So if you want to ask someone where they're going, just plug in the verb. ¿A dónde vas? Where are you going? Think of it as where you're going to. That way you'll remember it's a donde and not just donde. You could answer something like, I'm going to the store. Voy a la tienda. Now, another interesting thing to point out about the present tense in Spanish that is often used to express a future event. As long as there's some kind of term or word in there that gives you that indication. Words like mañana, tomorrow, más tarde, later, hoy, today. Here's an example. Voy al hotel mañana. I'm going to the hotel tomorrow. Mañana tells us it's a future event, but if we'd left it off, we could have translated it as I go to the hotel or I'm going to the hotel. It all depends on context. You can even work in some question words you learned in previous lessons. ¿Cuándo vas a la farmacia? When are you going to the pharmacy? Voy a la farmacia hoy. I'm going to the pharmacy today. So what if I want to talk about something that already happened? Like, where did you go yesterday? Or I want to tell somebody I went to the beach. That's easy to do. We only have to learn 2 new words. Fui, for I went. Fuiste, for you went. Now all you have to do is plug in your new words to make sentences. ¿A dónde fuiste hoy? Where did you go today? Fui al banco. I went to the bank. These are useful if you want to specify when something occurred in the past. Ayer, yesterday. If you want to say something occurred so many days ago, that's just hace, the number, días. If you want to say something occurred so many hours ago, that's just hace, the number, horas. The safest thing to do is just plug them in at the end of the sentence. Fui a Cancún ayer. I went to Cancún yesterday. Fui a Cancún hace 3 días. I went to Cancún 3 days ago. Fui a Cancún hace 2 horas. I went to Cancún 2 hours ago. The best way to practice this is to come up with some of your own questions and answers. Here's an example. ¿Cuándo fuiste a la tienda? When did you go to the store? Fui a la tienda hace 2 días. I went to the store 2 days ago. In English, we often use the word already, like, did you already go to the bank? Or, yeah, I already did that. That's easy to do in Spanish. Just use the word ya and put it before the verb. Ya fui a la playa. I already went to the beach. Ya fuiste a la farmacia? Did you already go to the pharmacy? Do you want to try some on your own? See if you can translate these two English sentences. Do you want to go to the pharmacy? And no, I already went to the pharmacy 2 days ago. Did I throw you off with that first one because I didn't conjugate the verb to go? Remember, all of the lessons build on previous lessons, so you may see any of that material at any time. You should have ¿Quieres ir a la farmacia? And no, ya fui a la farmacia hace 2 días. Try 4 more. Where are you going? I'm going to the beach. Do you want to go to the beach? No, I have to go to Cancun. Here are the answers. ¿A dónde vas? Voy a la playa. ¿Quieres ir a la playa? No, tengo que ir a Cancún. In these lessons, I haven't given you long lists of vocabulary words as far as locations to go to because I don't know where you want to go. You can look that up. But here's a useful way to practice the words you look up. You can get in the habit of making a question. Do you want to go to blank? And then answering, ya fui. I already went. Here's an example of what I mean. Do you want to go to the beach? I already went. Do you want to go to the movies? I already went. ¿Quieres ir a la playa? Ya fui. ¿Quieres ir al cine? Ya fui. A great way to practice the time expressions we covered, like hace blank días, hace blank horas, ayer, is to ask specific questions involving when. When did you go to the beach? I went 2 hours ago. When did you go to the movies? I went yesterday. ¿Cuándo fuiste a la playa? Fui hace 2 horas. ¿Cuándo fuiste al cine? Fui ayer. Well, that's it for today's lesson. I know I covered a lot of material in a very short period of time, but don't worry. I didn't expect you to learn it your first time through. In fact, you may have to watch this video as many as 15 times to learn some of these concepts. Hasta luego.